Hi students, in the last class we have seen the basic construction of a Michelson interferometer. Okay, the different parts of this Michelson interferometer, and also we have discussed the path difference and the condition for the constructive and the destructive interferences. Okay, and today we will see what is the type of the pattern, interference pattern that is obtained for a Michelson interferometer. Okay, that is the first one. Okay, now see in this case, suppose I am drawing it like this. See, we are observing from here. We have the telescope here. Okay, now you are looking at the arrangement. So you are here. So you are drawing it again in a slightly different manner. So you are looking at the mirrors. Okay, M1 and M2 are there. Okay, so it is there, and we have seen that the condition for the path the interference is 2d cos theta equal to n lambda for the destructive interference or the dark fringes. Okay, and also 2d cos theta equal to 2n plus 1 lambda by 2 or n plus half lambda for the bright fringes. Okay, now see, let us take the case of the dark fringes only. Okay, now see, we are supposed, so this theta is the angle of observation. That means along which direction you are observing the system. Okay, so you are looking through the telescope, that's all. So this is the telescope, you are looking through the telescope. So you can look directly to this one, or you can have a slight angle, isn't it? You can look at in a different direction. Okay, that is what I am drawing here. So this is the horizontal direction. Okay, now suppose if you are looking at a certain angle theta, then this is the equation 2d cos theta equal to n lambda. Okay, now suppose you are looking, okay, so suppose at this particular direction the condition is such that the condition for the destructive interference is satisfied. Okay, now suppose you are looking downward but at the same angle theta. Okay, so this angle theta again, so this depends only upon the direction of observation. So whether you are looking upward direction or downward, that means with respect to this one you are looking to the left or the right, the theta will be the same. If that is the same, this condition will not change. That means along the angle theta, if a destructive interference condition is satisfied, you have a dark spot here, okay, dark region there. Exactly the same thing is happening along this particular direction also, downward also. And what about these two directions? You are looking to the right or left. Okay, that means you are looking from there. Okay, so you are looking at the center. You have suppose a dark, the condition will be satisfied. Okay, you are looking in a certain direction. Okay, so you are observing from there. Okay, so this is the region. Okay, so you are looking and you are looking at a certain angle theta. So along this particular direction theta, suppose the condition for the destructive interference is satisfied. Here you can look along this particular direction. This is the center. So you are looking at this spot. So the angle will again be the same. And at this particular spot, again we can have the angle the same. And along this direction also, suppose the theta is the same. So you are standing there, you are looking to the left at a certain angle theta, suppose 30 degree, to the right, okay, and up, down. Everywhere the condition is that only the angle of observation should be the same. So we can have a circle, isn't it? And in that circle, and if you draw a line from the circumference towards you, always the angle will be the same. That means it is something like a cone, isn't it? Like this. Okay. So this is the center. So from this circumference, okay, you are at the center, it's a cone. So this is the vertex. So the angle will always be the same. Okay. So the conclusion is that, so you can easily imagine that. So when you are looking from there, so what will be the situation? Suppose at a certain angle theta, everywhere the condition will be the same. So that means this, suppose the condition for the dark fringe or the destructive interference is satisfied. So with respect to the center, at every point with the condition that theta is the same, you have the same situation. Okay, so what you are observing will be a circle, or that means a dark ring will be obtained. Okay, so that is the idea. So you are observing from here. Suppose I am observing, and suppose you are having the screen. Suppose everything is there along this direction. I am observing. So that particular condition. Suppose the distracting interference is satisfied. Along this direction again, I am looking at the sides, the same angle with respect to the horizontal. Angle is the same. You can see again the same situation, same condition. Along this direction or this direction, if the angle of observation is the same, the condition will be the same. Okay. So what you are observing by looking through the telescope will be circular fringes. Okay. So along this angle, suppose the condition for the distracting interference is satisfied, you will see this part. Okay. And at another angle again, suppose another angle, suppose here, actually decreasing the angle, another angle. Okay. This the angle. Again, suppose if the condition is satisfied for the distracting interference, you will see the dark fringe. Okay. In between these two, you can have the bright fringe also. Okay. So by looking through the telescope, what you will be observing, you will say circular fringe pattern. That depends upon the angle of observation. Okay. So that is the main point. Now, okay. Now, see, this is the condition 2D cos theta equal to n lambda. Now, when theta equal to 0, theta equal to 0 means you are looking at the center, isn't it? You are looking at the center. That means, say, along this direction, you are looking at the center of the arrangement. So, theta equal to 0. So, cos 0 equal to 1. So, what is the condition? 2D equal to n lambda. Okay. So, that means if the path difference is such that it is an integral multiple of lambda, you will get a dark fringe there. And if 2D is such that the condition is satisfied for the bright fringe, that means n plus half lambda, then you have a bright spot at the center. Okay. So, if you move away from that, you can see alternate bright, dark fringes. Okay. Now, so where will we have the maximum value of this particular situation? Sorry, its maximum is this one. Suppose theta is equal to 90 degree. Okay. So that is the most you can go. From here, you can increase the angle of observation, and theoretically you can say you can reach up to 90 degree. Okay. So even though that is not possible, theoretically that is the maximum. So theta is equal to 90 degree. What is the situation? Cos 90 equal to 0, isn't it? Cos 90 equal to 0. So the condition obtained will be you have 0 equal to n lambda. Okay. 0 equal to n lambda means n is equal to 0 because lambda you have a certain value that is given. Okay. So n is equal to 0. So the situation is that what you are observing at the center, will be the dark spot or the dark ring that is having the maximum value of n. Because as you are moving away from that one, cos theta is there, the value will be decreasing, and eventually at 90 degree you have n is equal to 0. Okay. So when you are putting the number, see, you have to put the maximum value of n at the center. Suppose altogether you can see 500 fringes. Okay, in the field of view, suppose you can see 500 fringes. That means at the center, the value will be n is equal to 500. And the next one you will see will be the 499th ring. And the other one, next one will be 498th ring, and so on. So that means at the center. So this one will correspond to n is equal to 500. That is an example. Altogether, if you see 200 fringes, then 200 you have to put at the center. This is 199, 198, 197, and so on. Okay. Now, see, I have already told you that this M1, this mirror can be moved. Okay. There is a pitch screw. So by rotating that one, you can increase or decrease the distance of M1 from G1. Okay, that means this is movable and this M2 is a fixed one. Okay. Now, suppose, okay, you have the equation that is equal to 2D is equal to n lambda. Suppose you are increasing the distance. That means you are moving the M1 away, further away. So what will happen then? This D will increase. What is D? D is actually this M2 is, we can see the image of this one M2 here, that is written as M2 dash. So M2 dash, between the spacing between these two M1 and M2 dash is actually called D, isn't it? So you can say that is the D is the separation between these two. From here, suppose this is x1. Okay, x1 is the distance from here to M1 and x2 is the distance from here G1 to M2. So x1 minus x2 is actually D. Okay, so by moving this M1, you can increase or decrease the value of D, right? So suppose you are increasing the value of D, then what will happen? See, this D will increase, isn't it? D will increase. So the path difference is 2D, remember. D will increase. And then suppose you are increasing the value of D by a factor lambda by 2. Okay. You are increasing the distance D. That means you are moving M1 further away by a factor this lambda by 2. Okay. So what is 2D? 2D is equal to D is lambda by 2. So D is equal to lambda by 2 means 2D is equal to lambda. That means by moving M1 lambda by 2 away, we are actually increasing the path difference by a factor lambda, isn't it? By increasing the factor lambda, suppose initially it is n lambda. Now what is lambda? You are increased by a factor lambda. So now the new value will be n plus 1 lambda, isn't it? So in place of so if we increase, if D is increased by a factor lambda by 2, 2D will be increased by a factor lambda. So the new condition will be, you can write that is equal to 2D. Initially if it is n lambda, it is n plus 1 lambda. Okay, that means now here it was initially it was 500 suppose. Now what will be the number of the dark band that you observe at the center? That will be 501. That means, see what is happening is that suppose if you increase the distance D by observing this one, suppose you are looking through the telescope. Okay, you are looking through the telescope and now you are moving it and you are increasing the spacing, that is M1 is moved further away. What is happening is that you see that this one, see initially this is at the center, now this will expand and this dark spot actually become a small ring and then it move away and then a bright spot will be formed there. And eventually when you are moving and reaches the value lambda by 2, you can see that a new dark spot is observed there. Okay, that means it is expanding actually. Okay, it is expanding. That means a new ring will be formed there. Okay, so that is what is happening. I think you got the idea. Suppose if you are, okay, you take it like this. Suppose if you are decreasing the distance, you are moving M1 downward. What will happen? Suppose it is moved through a value, it is moved downwards to a value lambda by 2. So what will happen? Now 2D is again lambda, but actually you are decreasing it. Now what you will obtain? So 2D is now less, isn't it? So D is, this spacing is decreased by lambda by 2. That means 2D is again lambda. 2D is equal to lambda, but it is decreasing. So what will be the condition? 1 lambda is decreased. So the center, at the center, what you will observe is the n minus 1. Initially whatever it is, minus 1. 1 lambda is decreased. Okay, so it will be n minus 1 lambda. So I told you the center is the 500th one, 499, 498 and so on. So if you call the center as the 500th one, so what is happening is that now if this situation is reached, what you will observe at the center will be 499th one. So how is that possible? What is happening is that when you decrease the distance, you can see that this system will actually become smaller. Okay, now that will this ring. Okay, what you observe was the 499th one. This is the 499th one. Okay, this ring is the 499th one. So this will become smaller, and the complete system, ring system, will be actually contracting. Okay, now this will become smaller, and it reaches to the center, and eventually it becomes at the center. Okay, so 499 one, it contracts and eventually that reaches the center. So what will happen to the ring at the center? Already it was 500th one. What happened to that? That actually it seems that will actually comes and disappears at the center. That 500th one actually disappeared. Disappear means this was a darker one, and slowly that will turn into a brighter one. And this one actually being smaller, shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, then finally that reaches at the center as a spot. Okay. So when you are decreasing, what you are observing is that this fringes will come to, or that will become smaller, and that disappears at the center. And if you increase the distance m1, if you increase that one, what you observe is that this ring system will expand, and then new fringes will be formed at the center. See, initially this dark spot is there, that begins to expand, then it will become a small ring, and at the center a bright spot is observed, and then eventually that expands and a new dark spot will be obtained there. Okay, so new rings will show up at the center. Okay, so if you go to the YouTube and just search for the interference pattern produced by the Michelson interferometer, you can actually see that. Okay, so there is an animation, you can see that how this is actually, that is new rings will be formed. Okay, it's simple. So if you decrease it, this will become contracting, and at the center, because each of these rings will come to the center and then disappear. Okay, then the other one will be coming closer. Okay, that is what is happening. Now, this is the observation you have to make for using this one to make some measurements. Okay, this is the one we will notice. How many fringes will be disappearing when you are moving the mirror M1 upward or downward. So you have to actually count. So suppose this is 500 initially you see, you decrease the length, you can see this will come to the center and disappears. And simply by looking at the center, you can count how many fringes will be disappearing at the center. Okay, so that is all that we are doing in the case of a Michelson interferometer. Now, this is the case with the lambda by 2. Okay, and suppose you are, okay, see, if you change the distance b, that means b is x1 minus x2. Okay, so this is x1, this is x2. So that difference. Okay, so if you increase the distance b by a factor lambda by 4. Okay, previously what we have discussed is the case lambda by 2. Okay, now suppose if you are increasing b by lambda by 4, then what will happen? What is 2d? 2d equal to lambda by 2. That means the path difference is increased by lambda by 2. Initially what we have started with is 2d is equal to n lambda. Now it is increased by lambda by 2. So what is the result? What is the result? It is new path difference. Already it was n lambda. Now it is increased by lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2. So this is equal to n plus half lambda. And n plus half lambda is a condition for a bright, that is the constructive interference or the bright band. So what is happening is that at the center, this dark spot, that will change into a bright spot, because now the condition is the 2d is equal to n plus half lambda. Okay, so if you want to replace the dark spot at the center with a bright spot, you have to move the mirror M1 by a distance of lambda by 4. So for each lambda, so if you are moving, okay, that is what I told you. If you are moving it a distance, suppose you are starting to move this M1, you are slowly moving, you reach initially lambda by 4. then the dark spot is replaced by a bright spot. Again you are moving, so initially you reach lambda by 4, then again you are moving it, you reach lambda by 2. What will happen? Again at the center, the next dark spot will be observed. Okay, so this is how the fringe system changes when you move the mirror M1 inward or outward. Okay. Now suppose, say this mirror M1 or M2 is tilted a little bit. What will happen? See, there are screws there, you can arrange or you can adjust the position or the alignment of M1 and M2. Suppose you are tilting, so this must be exactly perpendicular to each other in the center. Then only you will see this particular fringe pattern. Suppose this one is actually tilted. What will happen? See, you are tilting this one, and you will observe the the image of this one. Okay, image of M2 here. So, see, I am drawing it here. You have M1 there, and M2 is now tilted. And suppose x1 is equal to x2. That means x1 is equal to x2 means these distances are the same. So that means you will see the image of M2 at the same position as that of M1, and it is now tilted. What is happening is that what you will observe will be like this. This is M1, and you will see the tilted image of M2. Okay. Or you can say, suppose if these two are not exactly at the same distance, then you will see M1 here, M1, and you have a tilted image of M2. Okay. So in this case, see, what about the air film or the gap between these two? That will be similar to the case of air wedge, which we have already studied. Okay, so this is a air wedge, isn't it? A wedge-shaped air film. So what will be the interference pattern that is obtained? That will be localized fringes like this. Okay, you have straight lines. Okay, straight interference bands or lines will be obtained, and that is the case when one of the mirrors will be tilted. Okay, so this is actually you get equidistant interference bands if this is a situation. Okay, and if the position is different, actually this is a pattern obtained, but when you move away from the center, you can see that center it will be straight line. Okay, straight interference, and if you move out, this will be actually that will become curved. Okay, so that is because the condition depends upon the angle of observation also. That's why. Okay, anyway, that is different. So only thing is that if one of the mirrors is tilted, you will get the interference pattern similar to what you observe in the case of an air wedge, or they can say that is a localized fringes. Fringes, okay, will be obtained.